Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Stefan Rösler. I work in the Global On-Demand Channel Development Group here in Wallow. And this is the second edition of a call series we're running right now to present the Channel On-Demand opportunity to our partners. I'm not going to take a lot of your time today because my colleague Bill Howe, who's going to introduce himself in a minute, will basically run you through all the slides as well as a short demo. We give you an overview on the partner opportunity at the very end of that presentation, and then we'll also, as Prasanth said, open it up to question and answers. Happy to answer your questions also while typing them in on the Q&A section of this pod, and with that, I'll hand it over to you, Bill.
Terrific. Thanks, Stefan. My name is Bill Howe, and I'm VP in charge of our Customer On-Demand family of products. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very excited to be showing you a little bit more about what we have to offer. And specifically, we're going to be talking about Sales On-Demand, which is the first of a series of kind of functional applications that make up the Customer On-Demand family of products. Today, what we're going to be doing is talking a little bit more about what is this offering called Customer On-Demand, why is it delivered over the cloud. I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit more about our positioning, and while I'm going through a product demonstration, I'll be able to highlight some of the key areas that we would love you guys to help highlight with the external prospects. Then I'll turn it over to Stefan, and he'll be going through a little bit more about the program itself with the reseller channel, the next steps, and kind of the next series of calls that you'll be having. So with that, I think it all starts out with the concept that the world is changing, and selling today really requires a better understanding of the customer's behavior. And one of the things that's very apparent is that customers know a lot more about your products, your services, okay, and they actually know a lot more about what other customers and other people's impressions are of your products and services. And that creates quite a challenge, particularly when it comes to B2B type selling. There's a need to really rethink how do you win in today's marketplace, okay? And we believe it deals with kind of 4 key concepts. First of all, you need to collaborate. Gone are the days where a single sales guy knows everything. So you need to have teams. Second is you need to get the collective wisdom from these teams. Again, they may not be formally participating with you, but the collective intelligence of the community definitely helps put the best positioning forward. Third, people are fundamentally requiring a need to do more in less time, okay, and that creates quite a challenge. And fourth and foremost, it's important to spend more time in front of customers. And what we found is when we kicked off this whole project around Customer On-Demand, which is fundamentally a new next generation CRM up in the cloud, we studied kind of the weaknesses of what CRM systems are today, okay, and these systems were developed 15 years ago with concepts that management wanted to be able to supervise their sales employees. And when we studied sales employees, what we found is that most users didn't really like the CRM system. And part of it is the fact that they're really busy, okay? They're always parallel processing. And part of it is they spend a lot of time trying to find information. So when we decided we're going to build a new Customer On-Demand application, kind of this next-gen CRM up in the cloud, we realized we needed to understand the persona of that user, be able to focus on their habits, okay, and fundamentally our desire was to be able to develop a tool for the next generation sales rep. And that's what really led to Customer On-Demand. Again, it's a family of products, okay. It starts with Sales On-Demand. We also have a Service On-Demand and a Social On-Demand. And we also have another product that we sell called Social Media Analytics by NetBase. Okay, these are products that I think sometime beginning of 2013 we will be further introducing into the reseller channel. But what we wanted to do was start with Sales OnDemand. And Sales OnDemand is a very robust application. Okay, it really has a kind of a footprint that starts with a whole different concept around user experience with collaboration at the core. It obviously needs a very rich set of SFA functionality and CRM functionality. But one of the things that we really emphasized was the fact that the end user needed productivity. Okay, and we get that through not only a variety of different mobile device support, but we also have a fantastic Outlook integration, which hopefully I will be able to demonstrate. Our analytics are second to none. And lastly, as you would expect, we are pre-integrated with SAP ERP, SAP CRM, and also SAP BI. And so when you look and really highlight, what makes us different out in the marketplace relative to other CRM providers, it's really the bottom three. I think the user experience, collaboration, core CRM functionality is terrific. In fact, I think that'll be one of the first impressions you will get when you're talking to prospects. They won't believe that this is from SAP. But the things that clearly have a clear competitive advantage are the three areas below. So let's talk a little bit about the target market and the customer pain points that we are trying to solve. First of all, we have localized this offering in a variety of different countries. Most of these are the Western European languages, English obviously. We have support because of those Western European languages for South America. But we also have introduced, and we also support simplified Chinese. We have a policy here that because many of the companies that we are selling to are multinational companies, that their locations may not necessarily dictate the language that they need to deploy this in. We have a practice with these offerings that there is global availability of Customer OnDemand and Sales OnDemand in these supported languages. So if you happen to be in a country that we have not supported that local language, but want to deploy in a supported languages, for instance, English or German or Spanish or Italian, we will allow for the sale in those areas. The industry segments that Customer OnDemand and Sales OnDemand supports is really a B2B strategic selling model. Okay, and I've identified some of the industry segments that have those clear selling models. This is really a solution where sales cycles typically last longer than 30 days. It's typically selling of capital equipment or capital services, and typically it requires, I'll call it a sales strategy to be able to get the deal closed. And then lastly, I think with regards to, what are the things that we're trying to solve? I think as I go through the demo, you'll be able to see what are some of the pain points that we're trying to solve. Okay, but I think a lot of it is related to basic sales type activities, just understanding what's going on at the account, being able to forecast more properly and have visibility into the pipeline. One of the key things that we want to try to solve is to make that sales rep more productive. Okay, mobility is a huge area where what we find is a lot of companies are rolling out Sales OnDemand to enable their sales force to have access to kind of a new set of mobile devices, in addition to access to information in Sales OnDemand. And one of the last things that I think is very important is that with our pre-integration to SAP ERP or SAP CRM or SAP BI, there's this concept of an account 360 where you want to be able to get all the information related to that account, some of which may not necessarily be in the CRM system. For instance, invoice aging type data or order history or order status. And you have to get that typically through the ERP system. Well, we have an ability to render that information, and it's a very key part of our value prop. So let's talk a little bit about cloud. what's going on. I think it goes without saying there's a sea change going on, and CRM is a huge part of that sea change. It's a big market growing at much faster than the industry rate for enterprise software. And what we see is that there is definitely a tendency for both small and large enterprise to be moving these types of applications up into the cloud, and we clearly want our piece of it. We also have seen that companies today are not going to do a rip and replace. We're seeing a transition that's occurring out in the marketplace, and that transition means that cloud solutions need to work with on-premise solutions, okay? And that transition is going to take some time. So what we've done here at SAP is basically recognize the importance of being able to integrate these applications, okay? And in particular, while we have delivered pre-integration with ERP, SAP ERP and SAP CRM, our vision is to also be able to support end-to-end business processes. And in the process of supporting these end-to-end business processes, it's very clear that we will be building out integrations to support not only our cloud, the Sales OnDemand to the on-prem software, but we'll be supporting Sales OnDemand integration to other SAP cloud apps, okay? And there's very clearly a need that if a customer does not have necessarily SAP apps, that we need to be able to integrate with those apps. So we'll be also building out prepackaged integrations to other enterprise-type applications to be able to support these end-to-end business processes, for instance, market to cash, okay, source to pay, or recruit to retire. So let's talk a little bit about pricing and the structure. This is a little bit of an eye chart, but let me try to explain how we go to market. First of all, we are a subscription-based type offering. It's based on users. And in general, the more users a prospect buys, the better the price they get. In general also, the longer term that a customer buys, the better price they get. Okay, so what I did was I tried to show a few examples of how this basically works. Our minimum purchase is 10 users, okay, and you can see that it basically translates into a €72 or $80 per user per month list price. Okay, if you operate this standalone, it's going to be about close to €9,000 or a little bit over $9,000 per year, and that's at list price. Okay. If you're doing it with integration, okay, we have a variety of different ways to do integration, but one of the integration concepts that we have is using this cloud integration option. And you can see that it does raise the price fairly significantly, okay, and that's because a 10-user base is a pretty small deployment, okay. Most of our 10-user type deals tend to be standalone type deployments. But one of the things I wanted to highlight here is that we have tiers, okay, and these tiers are built in such a way to incentivize prospects to buy essentially more upfront, okay, to be able to support their needs, because there is a real cost, administrative cost associated with having us add, let's say 5 users, 10 users every 3 months. It just gets to be unnecessarily administratively heavy. So one of the tier breaks is between 50 and 51 users. And you can see here that at 50 users, it's still €72. But if you go to 51 users, we drop to 67. And you can see that the annual price actually drops. Okay, and this is really to try to move you up to the next tier. It just makes it a little bit administratively easier for us if you buy a few extra seats in anticipation of growth. And then lastly, once we get into the higher tiers, and we'll go into the thousands, but one of the big tiers is the 501 tier, and the price you can see drops to 47. You can see the standalone pricing, but here on a percentage basis, you can see that essentially the impact or the cost associated with integration is relatively small. And this is what we see in our deployments, that fundamentally integration is important, but there is a certain level where integration, because of the effort associated with doing that, becomes unnecessary for smaller type deployments. And once you get into larger deployments, it becomes a firm requirement. I'll also mention that the cloud integration option is just one approach. If a customer already owns SAP PI, which is the process integration, they actually can do this integration. They've already purchased the integration. So essentially it's covered under SAP PI, and the incremental cost associated with that is not there. So let me just make a few comments on some customers. We have a variety of different customers. In fact, we've been very, very pleased with the traction we've been getting, particularly this year. We've been on a very, very high growth rate, and we have customers from a variety of different industries, a variety of different sizes, all adopting Customer on Demand and Sales on Demand. I'll just highlight 3 of them for you. These tend to be, I guess, what Stefan had recommended to me, some of the smaller customers that we have had adopt Sales on Demand. One of the nice things about these companies that I'm highlighting is that we just came back from our Sapphire in Madrid last week, and these customers have done video testimonials which are now up on YouTube, and I'm just basically highlighting the links here for you. You go out onto YouTube and go out to the Sales on Demand channel, subscribe to that channel. You'll see approximately 40 different videos or 50 different videos, variety of different customer testimonials that we're more than happy to have you share in front of prospects. And here are just some of the other things up there. So these are links that I believe you will be getting as part of this program. So let me then switch gears. I'm going to do probably a 20-minute demo of Sales on Demand. It is a very rich application. There's a variety of different kind of features. What I'm going to try to do is give you a quick overview, kind of what we'll call the day in the life of a sales rep. So with that, let me just switch over. This is the Sales on Demand application. And the Sales on Demand application basically has a familiar kind of tab metaphor up at the top. Okay, and the tab metaphor, I'm logged in as kind of a admin, so I have probably more tabs than what a typical deployment would have. But what we've seen in deployments is that a typical user will have 5 to 8 tabs. Okay, and one of the nice things here is if for whatever reason, I wanted to move a tab, I could very easily move that tab, okay, change it, and basically, set it the way I'd like to set it. And these are just some of the little things that we've tried to put into the product just because we realize personalization is a very, very key part of how users like to use their application and how they feel it's tailored to their needs. At the centerpiece is what we call feed, okay? And if you're familiar with social media, in particular the concept of following in Twitter or the concept of being a friend in Facebook, what this does is it allows you to essentially stay in contact with whatever you're following or that friend, and every time they send a message, you basically get that message on your, or you have visibility to that message. And we said this is a terrific concept, okay, but let's apply that to the enterprise world. And the enterprise world basically says, if I'm a sales rep, what do I care about? Okay, I not only care about, I'll call peer-to-peer type communication, which is what Facebook highlighted, but I care about my opportunities, I care about my accounts, I care about my leads. Okay, and what we said was let's take those concepts, let's make those inanimate objects. Okay, so now anytime, for instance, I have a lead, and anytime there's an update on that lead, I will get a message pushed to me. You can see that as I hover over a hyperlink, I get what we call a quick view. Okay, and this gives me header information that is essentially making it easier than having to drill down, query, and then search for a particular record. The other thing from a UI standpoint that I'll just highlight is that we have this concept of a radio button, okay, and this is how I can follow things. Okay, so when you see it in dark blue, I'm following it. If you see it grayed out, it means I'm not following. One of the other things about feed, as you can imagine, there's a lot of information here that would occur in production systems. So we have the ability to basically very quickly filter information. Okay, so here you can see I just want to see people updates, and as I see these people updates, I can see messages that are coming from people. I can also look at updates from the system, updates from me. We have the notion of private updates, so basically messages that we don't want other people to see. We also have the concept of type ahead, and type ahead's an important concept because many times I want to basically find something very, very quickly. So I'm going to be using a guy named Claudio, and as you can see, as I start typing his name, you'll see certain things automatically get filtered. Okay, and so we use this concept called type ahead, and basically it's used to try to help users basically locate information. On the left-hand side, we have what we call quick create. Okay, and what we've learned through the years is that reps hate to create information. So what we've done is we've created, this is a persistent toolbar, and anytime I'm in this application and I want to create something very quickly, it brings up a nice simple form. I can fill this out and basically click save and I'm done. And what I'll do is I'll show you a little bit about how this comes into play, because many times when you're working on a specific thing and then you get interrupted, whether it's a phone call, an email, your boss comes by and taps you on the shoulder, many times you have to pause what you're doing, go do something else, and then you want to come back to where you left off. And that's really how this app is designed. On the right-hand side, we have another toolbar that persists, okay, and it basically is what I call the productivity toolbar, okay, and this basically shows an identical feed to what's over here, and this comes into play when I'm drilling down into specific details but still want to be connected with the outside world. We also have the employee directory, the products. We have the notion of a tag cloud. Okay, so we have an informal concept of how to be able to basically tag information and to be able to find it. We also have the concept of a shelf, a parking lot, to allow you to basically not forget to do things and basically put it aside. So with that, let me just go in a little bit into this particular application. I'm going to drill into a specific account, and for the demonstration today, I'm going to be using a company called Target Corporation. Okay, and here, again, we have the concept of my, all, my team. Okay, we also have notions around filtering. Okay, and filtering is kind of nice because maybe very quickly, you know, even though I have a lot of accounts here, maybe I just want to look up my Germany accounts or my German accounts. I can very quickly filter that. I could save this as a query. Okay, and when I save this as a query, I could say my German accounts, okay, and basically I could also save it as a default query, and what it basically does now is it pops up in my dropdown, okay, and you can see if I made it my default, it could be my defaulting characteristic. But let me go back to my accounts, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill down on the Target Corporation, okay. And as I drill down on the Target Corporation, one of the things I think you're going to see is that the layout is drastically different than anything from SAP. Okay, and this is obviously done on purpose, not because we wanted to be different, but because through usability studies, we've learned that this type of layout seems to appeal more to end users. Okay, so one of the key things is our header is on the left-hand side, and you can see essentially information related to that. Again, as I hover over the hyperlinks, I can see information related to that individual, what we call the quick view. On the overview page, I can very quickly see any feed updates. Okay, and feed updates are basically adhering to what we call your visibility and access rules related to data. Many times when you're selling to large enterprise, not everybody has access to everything. And so all these feed updates, all these visibility into opportunities and accounts and information is all respecting user access rules. So in this particular case, I can very quickly see the account team, okay, and one of the things that I talked about earlier was this account 360. Okay, in this particular demonstration environment, I'm connected to an SAP ERP instance. And in this particular case, I'm actually bringing information related to the target corporation, related to their invoice aging report. Okay, and so as a rep, I can see that they do have some invoices that are, beyond 90 days. Okay, and it might be good to know the next time I walk into the account. I can also see information coming from the ERP system related to, in this particular case, open opportunities and also any open orders. And when I click on this open orders, it's actually going to take me to the recent orders tab. These are orders that are basically in SD. I can look up information, and obviously this is just demo data, but I can see the status of these particular orders. And this comes in very, very handy, particularly for reps out in the field. One of the other things that I'll just mention is that in this particular case, we're exposing a mashup. Okay, and this mashup has what we call Inside View, which is a partner application exposed. And what's happening is we've set aside some real estate, what we call facet, to basically render information related to this account when we click on the account. And you can see, I can see public information. I can see people associated with this particular account that's in Inside View. Okay, and as I scroll down, you can see, and I can see Casey Call here. Okay, there's my Casey Call over here. I can see any news about competitors, the social media, and I can also see any news and jobs that they may have posted in financials. And as a rep, particularly a rep who may be trying to mine the account for information, this type of insight gives you a pretty good perspective on where their strategic direction is going. So going across the top, again, you can see a ton of information. This is all dependent upon how you want to deploy it. So I can see any opportunities, I can see charts. In fact, if I click on charts, one of the nice things here, you're going to see a bunch of little embedded analytics. Okay, and these are nice, and like all analytics, you can change the look and feel. If you don't like bar charts and you want to see line charts, you can very quickly do that. And on all facets, you can always export it into Excel. Okay, and just to show you, we have an additional variety of information to show, including an integration with SAP JAM. And JAM is a collaboration, social collaboration type tool that we use to help additional collaboration both with internal employees and with external employees. But let's drill down a little bit further on Casey Call. Casey Call was the contact, and if you remember, he was shown in Inside View. Okay, I have the header information here. I can see that contact permission is allowed, but I also can see, if I go to Inside View, okay, I can also see the information that Inside View has on this individual. And one of the things that a lot of people do is they like to go to LinkedIn. So I can very quickly click on the LinkedIn. I can see that he's the president of multi-channel, okay, and I can see basically what he's had in the past. Okay, I can also see that my information is dated. So let me just very quickly update it. President, multi-channel. Yeah, spell. Okay, and just like that, I've done an inline edit. I can very quickly click Save, and now it's basically done. Okay, and just like that, this inline editing, it just makes it nice. It makes it easy for users to basically use this particular application. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over, and I'm going to now go to my Outlook. One of the things that most reps like to do is spend their day in Outlook. Okay, and assuming my Outlook is going to render, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what we call our Outlook toolbar. Okay, and the Outlook toolbar is an add-in. It comes with Sales OnDemand and with Customer OnDemand, and this is my live Outlook. And you can see that as I click on emails from individuals, okay, you can see Claudio Lottenberg, okay, I can see essentially not only the header information, okay, but I can also see any opportunities, any leads. If I wanted to, I could look up any activities, okay, and basically, and also any campaigns that Claudio may be associated with, okay. And as I click on different users, you can see that basically the information changes, okay. So when I'm logged in, I'm actually getting real-time information from Sales OnDemand up in the cloud, and it's basically rendering this information back to me. Okay. One of the other nice things about this Outlook toolbar add-in is that I can always look at my feed. Okay. So while I may be in this Outlook interface, I always want to know what's going on in the outside world. So as updates occur, I can basically see that even though I'm not really in the Sales OnDemand application. So let's, for discussion purposes, let's go back to my example. Oh, can't see it, so I'm at the monitor. Here's the email that I got from Claudio Lottenberg, and basically is, sounds like a typical email. It's got an attachment on some use cases, and basically Claudio wants me to meet with him next week. Well, one of the biggest weaknesses of CRM systems today is the fact that most CRM users do not transpose the information that occurs in email into their CRM system. Okay, and that's a problem because basically what ends up happening is it's all up in the mind of the sales guy, and it's never in the mind of that, the team that needs to support the account. So one of the things that we've done to correct that is you can see I've read that email, and what I want to do is I want to basically link this to a specific opportunity. And for discussion purposes, I created a new opportunity. It's called Green Product Opportunity. And basically what I'm going to do is I can do it a variety of different ways. I'm going to show you a nice way. I can drag this onto the Green Product Opportunity. And when I drag it on there, you can see that basically I get a bubble that says synchronization started. You can see that this thing looks different. I can now see a check mark that has just basically taken place. Okay, and basically what I've done is I've now associated that email to this particular opportunity. And when I click on the link here, it should take me to the Sales OnDemand application. It should take me to the opportunity, I believe it'll be the opportunity overview screen. Okay, and let me just make it bigger so you can see it. And one of the nice things is it's going to essentially show that particular email being associated to this particular opportunity. So I've got a lot of stuff running right now. Normally it's a little zippier than this, but once it renders, I'm going to navigate to the activity screen.
Bill, we've got 20 minutes left for the call, so.
Yep. Okay, what I'm going to do, because for whatever reason I seem to be hanging, so I'm going to go back to my original screen. Let's go to, in fact, we're going to go from here. This was the option I'm going to go to. And I apologize, I'm not sure what's going on right now. I seem to be hanging for some reason. But basically, shoot, I really wanted to show this to you because it's pretty cool. But when I go and get to the opportunity activities, it will basically show that email synchronized to this particular session. So let me, I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, all my windows are rebooting. Can you guys see my cursor?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. If this doesn't work, then we'll we'll call it quits. This thing performed beautifully last week at Sapphire, and actually this part of the app is bulletproof. But for some reason or another, I'm not sure what's going on. We seem to be hanging for some reason, or I seem to be hanging. So I apologize, but basically if I click to activities and I were to click on to the email activity associated with this opportunity, you would see the email completely transcribed. You would see the attachment brought in, and basically you would see who it was from, who it was sent to, so on and so forth. So let me go back to our presentation. And I think I'd like to finish up with a quick discussion on the roadmap. This is an eye chart, and I'm not going to go through this in a lot of detail. I think the message really that we wanted to try to communicate is that, one, we have a pretty rich baseline type capability. We have a release that will be going out. We should be GAing the release this week, okay, and this is what we call our November release. It introduces a lot of enhancements on the sales side, particularly as it pertains to, I'll call it a lot of opportunity management type activities, and a lot of collaboration type activities. We have a release every quarter, and in every quarter we essentially are on a pace where we take a lot of feedback from our existing customers, and we basically try to deliver what our customers say and also what strategic partners may want to have. So as a result, we're pretty nimble, and you can see because of that nimbleness, because we're built up in the cloud, we can also deliver very quickly. And we're very, very pleased with how the organization has responded and how we've been able to kind of get on this new pace of delivery. And so I, welcome any feedback from you as you talk about customer on demand and sales on demand. If you find that there are specific features or enhancements that are required, definitely please share that with us. So let me turn it over now to Stefan, who will be talking a little bit more about the partner program.
Thanks, Bill. All right, so on the partner program, we've tried to sum up the key requirements from our perspective to the partner. We do believe that Sales OnDemand is specifically geared towards SAP Business All-in-One bars for a CRM upsell in the installed base. We do also believe that system integrators are a very capable audience for the product, and then we do feel that that is a product that we can utilize distributors for. The target market we're looking at with the product, and that is something that Bill has already touched, is basically all industries. We do see this in the larger and upper mid-market space, specifically customers with an installed base around ECC 6.0 that do not have the deployment of CRM so far, and typically these customers would sell products or services. From a solution expertise perspective, the CRM experience, of course, is absolute key. You still need to know about the processes and what typically happens in the day of the salesperson. And also, ideally, there should be knowledge on the ERP side to make sure that the integration piece, which is a core value proposition, is going through smoothly. And from an organizational setup, we feel that there is the possibility to leverage existing sales capabilities, which is a little bit different, for example, to business by design, where we feel that that really has to be a separate salesperson. So selling into the installed base with these existing sales capabilities, and we do require 2 full-time equivalents for demo and implementation. However, those do not have to be dedicated, so they can also, of course, take care of other products. So if you go to the next slide. We are outlining in pretty detail, and we're spending a lot of effort trying to make the business model work for partners. Basically, what we want you to make sure is, if you want to engage with us in the Sales OnDemand opportunity, that you do have a domain expertise. Of course, you have market access to those customers that you want to sell this to. You have to have a demand generation engine, which is a very critical piece in the whole on-demand space in general. And we feel that unless you would be able to close a first opportunity within the first 19 days, typically a partnership loses a little bit of the momentum. So that should be something that ideally you bring the first opportunities to the table, which is very good for both sides. And of course, you would be able to implement the solution. What you get for that is you have a direct contract with a customer, so this is a reselling engagement. You can book top line. It's not a commission model. You get discount on the initial and the renewal term, plus incentives on the deal metrics. So typically this discount as of today is 30%. 30% for initial and 30% for renewal. In addition, we have specifically designed the program so that your cash flow is being preserved. We do you pay SAP quarterly in arrears, so if you book a deal early in a quarter, you can keep the money for 2-3 months, and then only then we subtract the cost of goods sold and ask that to submit that to us. This, by the way, usually has a relatively large impact on the cash flow situation in the on-demand space, where this is typically a very critical topic. We help you with leads and market development funds. There is access to a software development kit. Bill has mentioned that already. Coaching and enablement. I have a separate slide on enablement in a minute. There's a consistent program across all solutions for on-demand. So the way this works is if you have a partner edge contract, you sign an addendum for the cloud, for example, for a VAR, and then based on the authorizations for specific products, you're able to sell all these products. So you don't need a separate contract for each product as it was in SAP Business by Design. We also have these defined rules of engagement and a clear customer segmentation with direct sales, and of course the overall benefits of the SAP Partner Edge program. What you can see to the right is just an example for a simulation for a partner business. Sorry, Bill, if you can go back. You can see a simulation of the revenue and EBITDA margins. We do this with a set of tools which we provide to partners in the on-demand space, where they can very detailedly simulate their specific business case. And this is what we use to also shape the whole discount structures and stuff. And as you can see, there's an initial invest from the beginning, which is not that dramatically high because you can reutilize existing resources and you're working through your installed base. And then there's a revenue flow, in this case, going up to 15 or 20% EBITDA margin, given the parameters that I have in very small at the very right corner. So this is what we do individually with every partner, and we feel that in Sales on Demand, the business case for a partner can really be made really easily. On the enablement side, we do have 3 tracks: sales executive, pre-sales executive, and the solution consultant. And we do reutilize a lot of the stuff that we've also created for other products. So you can see in the dark blue, there's solution agnostic trainings. They are portable across all solutions, such as, for example, taking off in the SAP Cloud. Then there is BYD solution agnostic trainings, which for all trainings for products that we cite on the BYD platform, such as Sales on Demand, are the same. So if you've done those for BYD, you don't have to do them again. And then there's solution-specific trainings and also web-based assessments. These are the orange ones. So the training effort, specifically for those of you who've worked with us in Business by Design already, is really nimble. And this is going to be available as of now today. So you can basically start getting trained today, and if you've signed the contract, start reselling this basically tomorrow. Can you go to the next slide, Bill? Thank you. So if you're interested, if you feel this is something for you and you fit the target partner audience for this product, there's a couple of ways how you can start your journey with us in this area. First of all, we do have documents posted on the partner portal called How to Make Money in the Cloud. This gives you a very good insight into the dynamics of cloud business from a business perspective. That's been co-authored with a Canadian channel consultant. This is a very good 20 pages document just to get all sort of the overall setup ready for the cloud business in case you haven't touched this area so far. Of course, you can contact us via our central inbox. This is cloudpartners@sap.com. I've also written it down in the chat. And you can apply through the web pages where there's the form that you can fill out for becoming a partner or for partnering with us in a specific area. That's on in the sap.com arena or in the partner portal as well. Of course, you can also always recruit your local partner contacts, your PSD contacts, or if you know them, the on-demand channel recruiters, and they'd be happy to help you as well. Go to the next page, Bill. All right, so this, as I mentioned, is the second edition of the call series. The next one will be around money. We're going to deal with finance on demand and travel on demand. This has been shifted to December 5th and December 6th. It was originally a week before. And we're also going to have people, which is one day earlier on December 4th. So again, 2 sessions. You can also have a look at the PSD pages for the registration. I've put the link down here and also the address. So there's all the sessions linked overall. If you have a problem there, if it doesn't work, also feel free to write to cloudpartners@sap.com. And with that, Bill, if you want to go to the next one. I know there is one question that I've seen in the chat, which was whether the product is available for, or there's going to be a solution for field services. I want to hand this over to you, Bill. Other than that, if you have questions, please feel free to ask them through the chat or through your telephone line.